Good morning all. First and foremost, this isn't sweat, this is water from the cold water facial immersion. So a bit of cold therapy, a bit of self-imposed hypoxia. But today we're going to talk about the paper that I posted yesterday. One of the papers that I said really gets me going, really gets me kind of into why I do this, and kind of gets me excited because it's just one paper, so it doesn't mean it's life-changing. But it suggests that there are potentially life-changing, potentially quality of life-changing outcomes that could be had. I'm not saying that could be had by all, but could be had by some. And so if we look today, the paper I posted yesterday was about incomplete spinal cord injury. And what they found was if you combine photobiomodulation, or LLT, with physiotherapy very early on, then you'll get better quality of life, better sensory output, and better motor recovery. If you combine red light therapy or photobiomodulation with the physio from the outset, you will get better quality of life results, better sensory and motor recovery, which I think for anybody that suffers a spinal cord injury and automatically thinks the worst, because it's a spinal cord. It's something to look into. And again, as I always say with all these videos, do your own research. This is just one study. This is one study that showed very positive returns on adding in LLT or photobiomodulation. And it must be said that this particular paper, which again I'll post below, is the one I posted yesterday. This particular paper used laser therapy, so not LED therapy, but laser therapy, and it used a specific wavelength of 808 nanometers. Now you can get 810 nanometers in my LEDs, my OptiBio LED range, and specifically for that reason, because 810 has been shown to have different physiological impacts to 830 or 850. And that's why I always encourage people to get in touch with me and ask me about, right, okay, this is what I want to use it for. Should I go for bio range? Should I go for the OptiBio range? And for a lot of things, you can just go for the bio range. It's slightly cheaper. But for some specific issues, so one of the other great things that 810 is able to do, has a better penetrative ability through the skull. So if you're looking for things to do with brain enhancement, etc., which I've got another great graphic on, then I would always recommend that any lamp or panel that you buy has 810 in it. Anyway, so what they found, I'm just looking through it again now. What they found was there was improvements in light touch sensation, pinprick sensation, quality of life, and even sensory motor control through adding in photobiomodulation as well as the physio when they did this. And when you think about it, and you think about how important your spinal cord is, how important quality of life is, any kind of improvement, regardless of how small that improvement is worth it. And remember, these studies were, there are studies out there that show how good red light is, and how good photobiomodulation, basically, I'm going to call it photobiomodulation, is, with repair and recovery. Whether it be through modulation or altering of pro-inflammatory responses, because sometimes some of the injury or some of the lasting injury occurs through your body's pro-inflammatory response, in order to try and halt any more injury, it creates an over-the-top kind of over-the-top inflammatory response. And also, because we live in this world where we are consistently in this pro-inflammatory state, where we are stressed out, etc., that affects our ability to deal with things appropriately. And so what they found, as I say, what they found was this particular study showed improvements through muscle control, as I say, quality of life, which is an absolutely massive marker with spinal injuries, quality of life. And basically it follows on from other studies which have demonstrated that red light or photobiomodulation is as good, if not better, than some drug interventions. So the anti-inflammatory drugs, I think it's called, I'll look now, MPSS, which is one of the first line treatments. And they found that photobiomodulation was equally as good as that without any of the side effects. And I'm putting a blog out later on today about the use of photobiomodulation for chronic and acute pain compared to various drug interventions, because the side effects of photobiomodulation, none. The side effects of drug interventions, potentially massive. Even as far as, I think they did this one study in America where if they were given opioids for even a day, then of those people, I think it was either 4 or 6% would still be taking those opioids a year later, after 1 day's dose. And then it further increases up further increases up if you get a 3-day dose, it goes up to like 12% or something. And then a month's dose, and it's up to like 45% are still taking it a year later because of the addictive qualities of it. And that's the opioids, and then we've got the NSAIDs, the non-specific anti-inflammatory drugs, which can have negative effects on kidneys, can have negative effects on the stomach, etc., etc. And so if we can find other modalities that have equally good effects on spinal cord injuries, that have none of the side effects, then surely that is something we need to seriously look at, and surely this is something that you can have into your recovery plan. Because at the end of the day, like, we want the best quality of life with the least possible side effects. Everyone wants the best quality of life. Let's not beat around the bush. So if we can improve someone's quality of life without actually having to deal with the side effects, then surely that's a good thing. So I say again, this is just one study, and it was done with a laser and not an LED. But the mechanisms at work are the same as if you used an LED. Officially, yeah, of course you get when you look at the amount of joules per square centimetre that we used, the amount of energy and the amount of photons that were pumped into the spine, they were massive. But there's no reason why you couldn't do that with an LED. But the mechanism of change and the mechanism of application, the mechanism of work within the body itself is the same. And so this potentially is life-changing for some people. And again, it's just one study. It was 26 people, 30 people. But the potential benefits far outweigh the risk, because there are no risks. There are no risks to this. The only risk is that you get ahead of yourself and you think it's definitely going to work when it might not. Because yes, there were on average a very positive and significant change between the sham protocol and the photobiomodulation protocol, but not everyone received the same benefits. And that's the same with all photobiomodulation treatments. How you respond to that light won't be the same as how someone else responds to the light. Much like if you go out into the sunlight, how you respond in the sun won't be the same as how someone else responds in the sun, because you are different. How your body responds is different. Your genetics are different. The amount of fat you have on your body is different. And so all these things are specific to you, and therefore you can't automatically expect to have the exact same results as the average that they've taken out of the research paper itself. But that being said, the fact that there is positive feedback in not just one paper but a few papers opens up a possibility to a very well received treatment that is beneficial for most people and has no side effects. So why wouldn't it be something that you would look into if you or someone you know had an injury, a spinal cord injury? So yeah, I love reading about things like this, and I'm sure I'll read 5, 6, 7, 8 other papers today. Maybe one of those gets me as excited as this one does. I'm not sure. But as always, have a great day and stay healthy.